अस्सलाम वालेकुम। My name is Miraj Atif and I am a lecturer student in Hospital Campus campus। तो अब वक्त है हम किसी ने कॉलोनी के साथ रहते हैं। तो आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो है ग्लोबल क्लाइमेट शिफ्ट। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट। हेलो ChatGPT, can you hear me?
Here. How can I help you today?
Okay, I have a topic on. So let's start. My topic first question is what are global climate shifts? Give me 20 points on it.
Absolutely. So, global climate shifts refer to long term changes in Earth's average temperatures and weather patterns. Here are 20 points. They involve rising global temperatures. They're primarily driven by human activities. Burning fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases. Deforestation also contributes to warming. Climate shifts lead to more frequent extreme weather events. Polar ice caps are melting. Sea levels are rising as a result. Oceans are warming and becoming more acidic. Sea level shifts in climate disrupt ecosystems. Biodiversity is impacted, with species migrating or dying out. Agriculture is affected by changing rainfall patterns. Water scarcity can increase in some regions. Heat waves become more common. Climate shifts can disrupt human welfare. Examples spread of diseases. Sea surface temperatures influence storm intensity. There's a rise in temperatures even in cities, urban heat islands. Melting permafrost releases more greenhouse gases. Socioeconomic impacts can be severe for vulnerable populations. International agreements aim to curb emissions, example Paris Agreement. Public awareness and action are crucial for mitigating these shifts. If you want to dive deeper into any of these points, just let me know.
Okay, you give great point. So my next question is how is climate different from weather? Give me
Of course. So climate and weather are related but distinct concepts. Here are 25 points to break down their differences. Weather refers to short-term atmospheric conditions. Climate is the average of weather over a long period, usually 30 years or more. Weather can change every day or even within hours. Climate is stable and describes long-term trends. Weather tells you what to expect tomorrow. Climate tells you what kind of weather is typical in an area. Weather is more about daily conditions like temperature, rain, and wind. Climate involves averages and variations over decades. Weather can be predicted using daily forecasts. Climate is studied through patterns and data over years. Climate is localized, it affects a city or region. Climate is global and regional, describing broad patterns. Weather can be measured with daily instruments like thermometers and barometers. Climate relies on long term statistical data. Weather events include storms, rain, and sunny days. Climate is about trends like average temperature rise or drought frequency. Weather can be chaotic, making short-term prediction hard. Climate is predictable when looking at long-term averages. Weather influences daily decisions, example, what to wear. Climate affects long-term planning, example, agriculture or infrastructure. Weather anomalies, like the sudden cold snap, are temporary. Climate shifts indicate systemic changes, like global warming. Weather is influenced by immediate factors, like a passing storm. Climate is shaped by long-term factors like greenhouse gases. Both are important. Weather guides daily life, climate guides long-term human adaptation. Let me know if you'd like to expand on any of those.
okay, you give great answer. So my next question is now what are greenhouse gases?
Great question. So, in-house testing refers to any kind of testing that happens inside an organization rather than outsourcing it. Could be anything from software quality tests to product. Sure, let's really expand on it. Here are 10 detailed points on how climate differs from weather. Weather is short-term atmospheric behavior, typically measured over hours or days, whereas climate is the long-term average of weather patterns, usually assessed over 30 years or more. Weather describes immediate conditions such as rain, temperature, or wind speed on any given day or even moment. In contrast, climate encompasses these patterns averaged across seasons, years, or even centuries. Weather is highly variable. One day might be sunny, the next stormy. Climate, by definition, is more stable, reflecting a baseline that changes slowly over time. Weather is influenced by short term events like a cold front or a heat wave, while climate is driven by long term factors like greenhouse gas concentrations, solar radiation, and ocean currents. Weather forecasts are used daily for practical decisions like travel or clothing, whereas climate informs policies on agriculture, urban planning, and disaster preparedness. Weather is a snapshot, it's what you see outside today. Climate is like the big picture, it tells you what is normal over many years. Weather data is collected from ground stations, satellites, and radar for daily predictions. Climate data requires long term records, often spanning decades from global monitoring networks. Weather anomalies like an unexpected snowfall in spring are just temporary fluctuations. Climate shifts are systemic, like a gradual rise in global temperatures. Weather is influenced by immediate factors like a nearby storm, while climate responds to global scale shifts such as increasing CO2 levels. Weather can be seen as a sequence of snapshots, whereas climate is the entire album of weather patterns for a place over decades. If you need further clarification or examples, I'm here.
Okay, you give great point. So my next question is, what is Earth's temperature rising?
Sure. Earth's temperature rise refers to the long term increase in the planet's average surface temperature. Here are some key points. It's largely driven by human activities like burning fossil fuels. It leads to more frequent heat waves, melting ice caps, and rising sea levels. This warming disrupts weather patterns, increases extreme events, and is a key indicator of global climate change. If you want more detail or specific examples, just let me know.
Okay, that is the great answer. So my next question is, how do glaciers indicate climate change?
Good follow up. So, we link human activities to climate change by examining how things like burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial processes increase greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide and methane. These gases trap heat in Earth's atmosphere, causing temperatures to rise. Scientists confirm this link by comparing global temperature data with historical records and measuring how the rise matches human emissions. If you need specifics on any of these links, I can break them down further.
Okay, great answer. So my next question is, why are sea levels rising?
Perfect. So when we talk about climate feedback loops, we're referring to processes that can either amplify positive. Absolutely. Here's a deep dive with 40 points on how human activities are linked to climate change. Human activities release large amounts of greenhouse gases. Fossil fuel combustion, coal, oil, gas, is the biggest source of CO2. Deforestation reduces the planet's ability to absorb CO2. Industrial processes like cement production emit greenhouse gases. Agriculture releases methane, especially from livestock and rice paddies. Land use changes, such as urbanization, alter the Earth's reflectivity. Burning biomass, like forests, releases CO2 and other pollutants. Increased energy demand drives more fossil fuel use. Transportation, cars, planes, ships, accounts for a significant portion of emissions. The Industrial Revolution kick-started the rise in greenhouse gases. The greenhouse effect traps heat in the atmosphere. CO2 stays in the atmosphere for centuries, prolonging warming. Methane from agriculture is much more potent than CO2, though it lasts a shorter time. Nitrous oxide from fertilizers also drives warming. Urbanization creates heat islands where cities warm faster. Energy production from coal plants is a major climate driver. Global population growth increases demand for energy and resources. The melting of polar ice accelerates warming by reducing Earth's reflectivity. Ocean warming disrupts marine ecosystems and amplifies sea level rise. Coral bleaching, driven by ocean warming, impacts ocean health. The burning of peatlands releases stored carbon into the atmosphere. Climate change disproportionately affects poorer nations, with heavy machinery raises emissions. Waste management, like landfills, emits methane. Global supply chains, from production to shipping, add emissions. Overfishing disrupts marine carbon cycles that help regulate climate. Cities with high energy consumption drive up urban carbon footprints. Global trade supports industries that emit large amounts of greenhouse gases. Residential energy use, like heating and cooling, drives up personal carbon footprints. Corporate practices that ignore sustainability contribute to warming. Technological advances can reduce these emissions. Consumer choices like using public transport reduce reliance on fossil fuels. International agreements like the Paris Accord aim to limit emissions. Governments create carbon pricing to disincentivize fossil fuel use. Public education raises awareness about human causes of climate change. Large scale reforestation can offset some emissions. The financial sector can push for green investments, reducing fossil fuel dependency. Extreme weather events, hurricanes, droughts are made more likely by human induced warming. The rise in global temperature correlates strongly with industrial growth and energy use since the 19th century. Without human intervention, this warming trend is
And what are the main causes of climate shift?
great. Of course, here are 25 key causes of climate change. Burning fossil fuels, coal, oil, gas for energy, deforestation and land use changes, industrial processes like cement and steel production, agriculture, especially livestock and rice cultivation, urbanization and sprawling cities, increased energy demand from growing populations, transportation emissions from cars, trucks, planes, and ships, waste decomposition in landfills releasing methane, peatland destruction releasing stored carbon, fossil fuel extraction like mining and drilling, land degradation reducing carbon sinks, consumer goods manufacturing from electronics to fast fashion, fossil fuel subsidies that encourage continued use, high carbon intensity of certain industries like petrochemicals, residential energy use for heating, cooling, and appliances, poor insulation in buildings raising energy use, intensive farming practices like monocultures degrading soil, over-reliance on non-renewable energy sources, mining operations releasing carbon and pollutants, increased demand for meat raising methane from livestock, synthetic fertilizers release nitrous oxide, a potent greenhouse gas, widespread plastic production which relies on fossil fuels, water use in agriculture depletes resources often tied to carbon footprints, lack of climate policies allowing unchecked emissions growth, short-term economic incentives that prioritize growth over sustainability. If you'd like more at any point, just say the word.
Okay, thank you for the great answer. So my next question is,
Of course.
what are the
What would
main
you
causes of climate shift?
got it. So the main causes of climate
Okay,
change
thank you.
revolve around human
So my next
activities that
question is, how does deforestation affect climate?
great question. Deforestation affects climate in a big way. When we cut down trees, we reduce the planet's ability to absorb CO2. Plus, the carbon stored in trees is released when they're burned or decomposed, which intensifies greenhouse effects. This disrupts local and global weather patterns, reduces rainfall, and accelerates global warming. Absolutely. Here are 40 detailed points on how deforestation affects climate. Trees absorb CO2 during photosynthesis. When forests are cut, this carbon sink is lost. Carbon stored in trees is released as CO2 when they decay or are burned. Fewer trees mean less removal of CO2 from the atmosphere. Deforestation disrupts the water cycle, reducing rainfall. Less rainfall can lead to droughts in deforested areas. Forests cool the environment, removing them increases heat. Urban heat effects worsen without forests. Loss reduces biodiversity, disrupting ecosystems. Disrupted ecosystems store less shade, raising local temperatures. Deforestation can change wind patterns, affecting regional climates. Soil erosion increases without trees, reducing land fertility. Warmer temperatures from forest loss speed up ice melt in polar areas. Forests act as carbon banks, their loss releases stored carbon. Increased CO2 from deforestation worsens the greenhouse effect. Shifts in rainfall patterns alter agricultural yields. Forest fires, often linked to deforestation, release huge amounts of carbon. Loss of forest cover reduces evapotranspiration, lowering humidity. Less forest cover reduces resilience to climate shocks. Deforestation shifts carbon balance from a sink to a source. Global climate systems rely on forest feedbacks. Losing them destabilizes them. Forest loss reduces natural cooling effects, raising regional temperatures. Coastal forests help buffer against storms. Their loss makes coasts more vulnerable. Logging and road construction fragment habitats, releasing more carbon. Tropical forests especially are rich carbon stores. Their loss accelerates warming. Indigenous communities, often guardians of forests, are displaced, disrupting local climate knowledge. Reduced forest cover increases global atmospheric CO2 levels. Deforestation lowers soil moisture, worsening drought conditions. Deforested lands often revert to less productive carbon emitting grasslands. Loss of forest edge changes microclimates, affecting local temperature and humidity. The Amazon rainforest is a critical carbon pump. Its decline weakens global cooling. Forests stabilize local climates, so their loss destabilizes them. Deforestation affects rainfall in distant regions as far as North America and Europe. Without forests, feedback loops intensify, raising
Okay,
global
getting to
warming.
serious answer to my next question is, how does climate change affect ecosystems?
Absolutely. So, of course. So, climate change refers to long term shifts in temperature, weather patterns, and other atmospheric conditions on Earth. It's primarily driven by human activities like burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial processes that increase greenhouse gases. As these gases trap heat, global temperatures rise. This disrupts ecosystems, causes sea levels to rise, and increases extreme weather events like heat waves, storms, and droughts. Over time, these changes affect biodiversity, agriculture, water supply, and even human health. If we don't curb emissions and adapt, these impacts will become more severe. Let me know if you'd like to explore any part in more detail. Of course, here are 49 detailed points on how climate change works and its effects. Climate change refers to long term alterations in global or regional weather patterns. It's primarily driven by human activities that increase greenhouse gases. Fossil fuel burning, coal or gas, is the largest source of these emissions. Deforestation reduces the number of trees that absorb CO2. Industrial processes like cement production release large amounts of CO2. Agriculture, especially livestock, produces methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Nitrous oxide from fertilizers also drives warming. Urbanization changes land surfaces, reducing cooling effects. Increased energy demand from growing populations drives emissions. Transportation, cars, planes, ships, is a major carbon emitter. The greenhouse effect occurs when gases trap heat in the atmosphere. CO2, once released, stays in the atmosphere for centuries, prolonging warming. Ocean warming, driven by extra CO2, affects marine life and weather patterns. Melting glaciers and polar ice raise sea levels. Sea level rise increases coastal flooding and erosions. Extreme weather events like hurricanes become more frequent. Heat waves are amplified by global warming, posing health risks. Droughts become more severe as precipitation patterns shift. Shifts in climate alter growing seasons, affecting agriculture. Biodiversity is impacted as species migrate
Okay,
or go
ChatGPT.
extinct.
So my next
Ocean
question is, how are oceans are affected?
Great point. So, yes, every ocean is affected by climate change. Warming oceans absorb heat, which raises their temperature. This affects marine ecosystems globally, from bleaching coral reefs in the tropics to shifting fish populations in the Arctic. Also, oceans store carbon, so as they warm and acidify, their capacity to regulate climate changes. This impacts not just marine life, but also global weather patterns. Let me know if you want to go deeper.
Okay, so my next question is, what causes drought? Give me 40 points on it.
Sure. Here are 40 points on what causes droughts. Droughts occur when there's a prolonged period of below average rainfall. Natural variability in weather patterns like El Nino can cause droughts. High pressure systems block rainfall, leading to dry spells. Reduced soil moisture prevents evaporation and cloud formation. Deforestation reduces local rainfall by disrupting water cycles. Overuse of water in agriculture lowers groundwater levels. Climate change shifts precipitation patterns, leading to more frequent droughts. Urbanization and concrete surfaces limit natural water absorption. Poor land management depletes soil moisture. High temperatures increase evaporation rates. Changes in ocean currents alter regional rainfall patterns. Weak monsoons, especially in Asia, can cause severe drought. Reduced snowpack in mountains limits water runoff into rivers. Shallow reservoirs dry up faster during heat waves. Water diversion for cities or agriculture reduces water flow downstream. Atmospheric conditions like reduced humidity slow rainfall. Overpopulation increases water demand beyond supply. The loss of wetlands reduces natural water storage. Agricultural expansion without sustainable practices depletes water sources. Groundwater overuse prevents aquifers from recharging. Water cycle disruption by deforestation reduces rainfall. Changing weather patterns due to climate change reduce predictability of rain. High evaporation rates from lakes and rivers intensify droughts. Poor irrigation systems waste water and reduce reserves. Lack of rainfall in temperate regions also leads to drought. Droughts can be aggravated by poor irrigation planning and water mismanagement. Dust storms can result from dry conditions worsening air quality. Deforestation in upstream regions reduces water flow downstream. Droughts are often compounded by poor land use, like overgrazing and monoculture farming. Reduced river flow impacts hydropower availability, affecting energy supply. Rapid deforestation in tropical regions like the Amazon disrupts regional rainfall. Increased temperatures reduce the moisture content in soil, drying out land. The combination of heat wave.
Okay, so this was our colony. I hope you liked it. Another colony with a new topic. So, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.